do I take that 9 to 5 contract job again, or do I double down on myself and my business? I took the latter because I did the math, man. Like, dude, if I spent 8, 10 hours working for someone else, what if I took that same amount of time and apply it to my own self? Like, I could really double what I'm doing now as a DJ. And then I literally doubled that from 32 to like 60, 64 weddings.
Hello, guys. Thank you for tuning in to the More Than the Numbers podcast. This is a show where we'll dive into the stories of people overcoming financial insecurity, showing the different paths that people take to become wealthy, and overall just how to live a more purposeful life. So if you enjoyed listening to the show, please show some support, give us a 5-star review, and leave a comment of your favorite part of the pod. Also, please share it to anyone that you know that feels stuck and that needs some uplifting or needs some help to get their finances in order. We're really just trying to help as many people as we can with these stories. God bless all of you, and yeah, just enjoy the show.
Today on episode 11, we introduce a 12-year veteran in the music industry, DJ Mojoe. Not only has he performed at over 160 different venues in his career, in just the last 5 years, he's performed at over 360 events, earning a slot as the preferred DJ at numerous wedding venues in Southern California. DJ Mojoe unveils the curtain to building a successful business in the DJ industry, detailing the mentality and the work ethic he needed to become the greatest version of himself. This is definitely an episode that you want to go back and listen to a couple times to soak in all of these gems. But before wasting any more time, let's take a dive right in. We're welcoming to the podcast DJ Mojoe, aka Joe Rivera. Thank you for coming on the show today. It's the More Than the Numbers podcast, man. I'm happy to have you here.
Dude, Kenny, so glad to be here and welcome everybody. I'm just saying hi to everybody who's listening right now. I'm Joe, DJ Mojoe. Such an honor to be in your podcast, Kenny. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing well. As you know, I'm prepping for kind of a something big next year. You might be a part of it. It's just a wedding.
Just a wedding next year.
No, but I kind of want to just intro you with the backstory of how we kind of know each other. So with Joe, so of course Gabby, my fiance, we went to a wedding last year, and we've gone to a couple weddings last year, and one of the weddings that we went to was one of her cousins, and we finally noticed that, like, okay, finally, we were having a good time with the music, and we noticed specifically that the DJ was like making it popping. We didn't really know what it was. We're big people that are into music, and we felt the vibe from it. And at the time, we didn't really know if we were going to get married or not, like what the timing was going to be, but we just knew, we were just kind of taking record of looking at, looking at the different venues, looking at different DJs, just to prep and plan. And I noticed that right off that, it was something special. Funny enough, a couple months later, when we are planning to go and get married, we look at the venue of the preferred vendors, and we found DJ Mojoe's profile right here, Joe's profile. And Gabby just said, okay, this is perfect. Like I just from your profile. So props to you on that, of how you marketed yourself on that, because it was exactly what we wanted in terms of the music style. And I'm not sure if there was like clips involved with it, but she said that we were already fans. And, of course, we booked the interview with you, and gosh, I loved every part of that whole process. And I just want to give you my appreciation, your flowers for that whole process, and just making it super easy, and excited for having you booked for next year, man. I'm really, really happy and excited.
Dude, Kenny, I'm excited for both of you, man. And I really appreciate you having me as your DJ. But yeah, I think the music and the vibes, like it's also important. Like at the end of the day, it's about how you feel, and celebrating with your family and friends. So like I'm just excited. So we're about 1 year away, man. With that.
Exactly, 1 year away. So let me just give these people some stats, because I was doing research for you was just super fun. So you've been in the game for 12 years, right? So, and you've been a full-time DJ for 7 years.
Correct.
And I remember when we were talking in our first call, you were just telling me that you already were entirely booked for this year. I think you were just had 1 or 2 slots at the time. I'm sure those are already done. I was just blown away with how impressed I was with how, you know, of your work ethic, first off, for having 52 bookings at the time. I don't even know if you're doing more. So 12 years as a DJ, 7 years full time, 160 plus venues worked, and then I'm going down like there's just so many venues that you've already worked for, you know, done all these different shows and sets. But before we get into what you're doing right now, I want to take it all back, man, from like your first ever approach to music and DJing. Like tell me a little bit of your upbringing. So where did you grow up in, and like when did you first start to like music really?
Dude, I would love to. First of all, like in talking about these things, it's a story, man. Like from being an underdog in this whole scene, and like now very thankful to be doing what I'm doing here today. But we all have our beginnings, right? And well, first of all, I grew up in Southern California. I'm the only child, really, and I had lots of passions growing up, and one of them is music. Before I actually got into DJing, I actually played guitar, and I became decently good with it. Not to the point where I'm like performing at shows or anything, but it was my first opener of like going to that creative space of creating music and playing music for others. But it wasn't until I think 2009, 2010 was when the digital age of the music started coming in, and um, I started to explore how DJs on the radio mix music from one song to the next. I also had my uncle who was a DJ as well, and he was kind of like a main influence to kind of show me what that's like. But I think it all started with me just discovering new music online and seeing what songs I like, and sharing that with others is always a great joy. For example, Bruno Mars, do you know that song Nothing on You?
Oh yeah, with B.O.B.
Yeah,
right?
B.O.B., right? So during college, like I was digging through his website and I discovered that song. And I was like, oh my God, this is such a good track. And then weeks later, it came out on the radio.
Mm.
But I told my friends about this, and I don't know, for some reason it gives me that joy, like, oh, this is a track you have to listen. Like it's gonna come out, it's gonna be very popular soon. So things like that, and it did. Like things like that got me excited because it kind of showed my taste of music, and like knowing this is going to be a hit. Oh, they're going to enjoy this one. So sharing my passion in terms of the music that I like, and I think that's all part about being a DJ. We all have our own sound and style that we just want to share with the world. Um, but in terms of being a DJ, and I'll speak briefly on this too, but dude, I had no idea I was going to be a DJ, really. I think it all started because I'm kind of an introvert where I'm shy. Whenever I go to parties, like I just chill by the food and don't really like socialize as much. I'm very shy, reserved.
Wow.
But being a DJ, it really helps you step outside of your shell. And I've noticed that for a party, it's really hard for me to just enjoy myself. For me, I feel like I have to serve and do something. So when DJing, I'm actually being able to directly contribute to the overall vibe of a party, and I feel somewhat like contributing to the experience instead of just laying low by the, in the corner of the room. So I actually feel more purposeful, like just being involved with the music in some way, so that way I'm not just being lazy and doing nothing. So, but I think that's what helped me broke out of my shell. So that way, next time I'm at a party, like I'm always there thinking about, okay, how can I make this experience better for people? And I'm thinking about the music as like my the first thought in my mind.
Yeah, no, I think that's something that really sets you apart too. And you can tell just from the way that you talk and the way that you actually educated like me and Gabby about how music works, is that you truly do care about like i- i- about also not only you do what you do on the music front, but actually explaining, because me and Gabby are going to be obviously the recipients of this, and you want us to make sure that we're going to be in a happy space too, and understanding where you're coming from with that. So I think you do have this like genuine care and passion for like serving I think, and then that's probably the reason where I'm finding that most good ethics successful people have is that ability to serve first, and then the money will come, the success will come after that. And I see that in you, and that's a big reason why I wanted to bring you on the show. So it's beautiful to hear, man. But like, that's not an easy thing to just start going into, because everyone we're at young age, we're all into music and stuff. But like, what made you actually want to pursue it as like a career? When did you start seeing that as an avenue?
Oh man. Well, with DJing, I mean, we all start with just DJing for our family and friends, and just like it's just fun. Like it's just a cool thing to do back then. And I think things like the doors starting to open, or at least my eyes widen, when people are willing to pay for my services. I'm like, whoa, people are willing to pay for me to play music? What? And I think one of the bit I think at that time during college when I got into DJing, there was a frat party that wanted to pay me $300. And at that time, as during college student, I thought that was a lot, you know? And it was back then.
Oh yeah, no, that's a ton of money, dude, for going to party. Like, I mean, yeah, that's amazing. Like, but so okay, so you said you were going to school. So were you going to school for
Oh,
music or
yeah,
what?
yeah. Let me clarify on that.
Yeah.
So, I went to Cal State Northridge, and I majored in food science and nutrition. Yeah, I figure I should
Perfect for DJing. But
lead
yeah,
with
go
that. Yeah,
go
perfect
to
for
that.
DJing, right? uh, and I thought that was a career that I was going to pursue. And while I was going for that degree, I was exploring my other interests, because I think before even in Cal State Northridge, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I mean, I was interested in computer science, technology, math, and chess. Like, dude, I'm a nerd. I'm really a nerd. But then I went to food science and nutrition, because I like to take care of myself and the body, and it's about the food that that whatever you consume affects the output. You know, so but then after working a few years in the food industry, like, DJ has been my calling. I feel it's so much rewarding. And I think that's what I wanted to pursue. Like, yeah, there's money with it, but it's a direct correlation with the amount of work that you put in, and the outcome that you get out of it, and the feedback and the results. I felt like what I'm doing actually does matter than working for another corporate job. And nothing wrong with that. For some people, it's fine. But for me, I knew something was missing, and I felt more fulfilled DJing for people who actually do care about the work that I put in. And
I
the
see.
result of the work is it's a positive feedback loop. So it reinforced me, okay, if they are willing to do, if they are happy with my services and they're paying me this much for the work that I put in for that event, for that moment, I think to myself, what if I double or triple X the amount of work that I put into my craft to generate an even better result? So if they're enjoying that, what I'm doing right now, what if I did what I do and multiply that by like 5 times? Over time, I'm gonna even more result as an outcome, or more positive a more positive outcome as the result, like, of
Yeah.
what I do. So
No,
that was my logic behind it. And
yeah.
I was really testing myself to see, okay, how far can I really do this? Like, how far can I really go in and make this a career? And part of me also wanted to prove my Asian parents that that you know what, like, I can do this.
That's what I was just gonna ask you. Like, what about the feedback from your parents? Like, you're saying, "Hey, you know what, mom, dad, I think I'm gonna go, be a DJ," or your friends and like cousins. Like, what did they say, and what, like, did that ever deter you at the time?
Dude, it was more adding fuel to the fire.
Whoa. Okay.
I think that's a good analogy. It's like I already had this fire, like maybe it's just like a little, what's that word? It's not a fire, it's like a little like ember. It's just,
Mhm.
but then you're just helping it grow even more. So that's the analogy. It's just like adding to it, like in a way, like I want to prove them wrong.
What did they say though when you first like told them? Like, did you ever tell them, or you just kind of just like secretly building this thing up?
They knew about my interest and passion, but they were like, "Oh, but always look for a job. Always look for a job." But over the years, I was able to somehow make them feel more relaxed by actually taking them on a trip to Hawaii.
Mm.
So just to be like, hey, you know what? I'm doing okay, mom. I'm doing okay, dad. So that, and after that, and they've seen my reviews. I mean, they haven't been following me on Facebook for a while until like several years later, and then they see my post and like, wow, you did this, you did that, like, oh, that's cool. And then now they're like promoting me in a way like to their friends. Oh, he's a DJ. He's a DJ.
Oh, that
So
must
it's
be
a complete
so.
180, but
Yeah, that's fulfilling. That's cool.
dude, it all starts with believing in yourself, you know, and I really did. I really, really did. And I think that's what kind of helped me out through that time is just, I'm gonna figure this out.
So you never at the time like second guessed yourself with when people would like, because it's not a normal thing to be going for, especially at that time too. I feel like now if you're starting to be a DJ, be a YouTube creator, starting a podcast, it's a little bit more widely accepted, right? Would you agree than it was back then?
Yeah,
Like,
back then it wasn't like, dude, like I started taking video more seriously or taking my video more seriously back in 2015 when I started documenting and vlogging and it's like, you know what? I need to put myself out there. And that was when YouTube was kind of new. Now like YouTube is kind of there's a lot going on YouTube. But yeah, I'm kind of glad I started early with that, but one thing led to another and just as long as you're consistent and be able to grow, um like the possibilities are there. But yeah, I had several moments in my life where I felt contributed to where I am today. But those are some of the things.
what were the most moments you think, like the biggest ones that like really, like the ones that really unlocked like a new layer in your brain of like, oh wow, I could really do this, and I'm really like I'm that guy, Like, were there ever like specific moments like that? Was one of those like trips to Hawaii or maybe a certain like
Dude, okay,
venue that you
so
did?
there's different kinds of motivators, I really think, and it's kind of funny because um, I won't mention any names, but just
Okay.
for humor, I'll tell you a little bit of story.
Yeah.
Uh, um, about my ex.
Okay. Cool. That's always how it starts, man.
It all starts with the ex, you know, like we were dating at the time, and I was kind of unstable with my career, didn't know what's going on, my future plans. Like I had a 9 to 5 in this corporate job and doing part-time DJing, and I was trying to figure out, okay, what's the future going to be like? But anyhow, long story short, that relationship didn't end well. In my mind, I was in like beast mode. Like I don't know if you've watched Dragon Ball Z, but like I was trying to go Super Saiyan on my DJ business and just go crazy. So I took all that energy that I had from that and focused on my business and my work and that and my health too. And there's so many. It's like there's moments in our lives that kind of triggers those moments where you know what, like I could either I don't know fall back and just revert to a low state of mind or energy, or I could take that and actually do something with it. So that was one of my pivotal points. The second, I had to choose whether I should continue working for a 9 to 5 job. That same 9 to 5 job, my contract ended. They wanted me back. Do I take that 9 to 5 contract? And at that time, I had 32 weddings already doubled down on myself and my business. I did the math and I took the ladder. Really figured out for myself. Because I did the math, man. Like, dude, if I spent 10 hours working for someone else, like a lot of things happened in the same amount of time, that situation with to my own past relationship, like I could really, and also my work situation, double what I'm doing now as a DJ. And then I literally doubled that from 32 to like 60, 64 weddings.
Wow, that's one thing I also saw too, and that you're bringing up now that kind of justifies it. But you keep talking about putting in the amount of work and trying to improve, right? And I was looking at your website too, that of all of the coaching and all the programs that you've done, when did you were you always kind of into like self-improvement and personal development and coaching yourself? And speak on that a bit. Like, how has that been a factor in your success and your life?
I would love to, man. First of all, it's been a huge, I guess, contributor to where I am, and I could sure I could say success, sure, but I feel like I'm continually growing, and I want to be humble. Like I think success is, there's different definitions of it, and I'm blessed to where I am today, but I'm always wanting to challenge myself with where else I could be down the road in the future, and it's been really huge because I've learned that this whatever I do doesn't operate unless I work on myself. And there's a direct correlation with the amount of skills and knowledge and wisdom that I accumulate. And it has a direct correlation with the growth of my business or with the service and the quality of the services that I provide for my clients. So it's been huge because the main thing that I took away from this is I am shortcutting my learning curve from people who have actually done it. And even that thought in itself took some time for me to wrap my head around, because you can learn it, like, sure, down the road, but it will take longer. But do I really want to wait? So I've been really applying these skills for myself that no one can really take away. If anything, it's a compounding effect, whether it's communication skills, sales, marketing, people skills. I mean, there's so many things that, they don't really teach us in college, which I wish they did. But I noticed that the more I invest in myself, the more I'm able to get the outcome and the results that I want, that I'm looking for. And it's just like, all right, if what I'm doing now got me to where I am or if what I did in the past got me to where I am today and it's been good, why not keep doing it? Like I'm reflecting back on the things that worked for me and what things didn't. And I really have to take myself and be aware of those actions and those thought process and the way you operate, like in that sense. Whereas, and as someone who I've learned, for the results that we want, before you get the result, it takes action. But what's before an action are the beliefs and the feelings that led towards that. So if we start from the source of the way we believe, our beliefs and our feelings towards something, and then that will evoke an action, and then the result, and then from that result you can gauge whether did it help you or did it, or did not or didn't. And like, okay, what went well, what didn't? But it's really evaluating everything that you do to see if it's going to help you get to the path that you want to reach.
Wow.
But
Where
sorry if it was deep, but it's
no,
just
I love that stuff. That's I mean, I the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I myself love personal development and been reading books and podcasts like this and stuff for years and
same.
years, and I think that's what made the difference in my life too, of creating an awareness of like, where you have to be optimally, every single day to improve. So, but have you always had that mindset? Was it at that moment of like when you were really just, getting over the X and trying to
that moment.
was it that moment, or was it something your parents taught you back then of like you should improve? Like where did you
Oh
get
man.
that from of trying to become better?
You know what? I think it actually started 2018, like 3 years after my pivoting point of doing this full time, because for the next 3 years I had to figure things out, because I'm doing this full time. Like I have to learn, I have to grow, because my livelihood like depends on it, and my belief that I want to do this full time. All right, I got to do what it takes. But I think I had that mindset. I just didn't know which direction to follow. But one of the things that really helped me out in 2018 is exploring sales. And sales has helped me a lot. And even to this day, like I'm still learning about sales, because sales ultimately it's helping you understand and communicate with people and understanding their desires, their wants, their fears, and helping them overcome that to change. And change is scary, right? And usually when things are getting uncomfortable, that's usually a good sign that you're growing. And it's helping other people understand why they feel that fear, maybe because they hold a certain belief that's preventing them from getting the result that they want. But in sales, like, you really learn the psychology of a person and really guide them into the outcome that they want. But it all starts with transforming themselves to become that person, to make the right person who will make those right decisions for themselves to get what they want. But
Nice.
it goes deep, man. But it's I love
I
it.
love this. No, I love this stuff too. And you're speaking my language. I'm gonna be selfish and ask you questions for myself on sales because I don't know if you remember. I told you I'm a loan officer myself, so I've done sales for 3 years now,
Oh
and
way.
I'm
All right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm always curious on tips, and I feel like the way that you view sales is very similar to how I do it. You know, because there's tons of different strategies of how sales can work. You can be, real pushy, and that stuff works for some people, but
Yeah.
the way that you do it, and when the process that I really like of how you went over it is that you really are clear about from A to B to C, this is exactly what's going to happen, how the process is going to work. Where did you develop that sales strategy of, I'm talking specifically right now with like your DJ
Sure.
sales and booking, right?
Mhm.
Like where did you come up with that? Was it more trial and error? Did you follow a course? Was it one of your mentors? Like, where did you develop that system? Because I thought it was just so like organized and cohesive, like that I was like, okay, now it actually made me mold my strategy to that of like give people extreme clarity, like, so speak on that, where you got that from.
Yeah. Mostly it's trial and error, but I had lots of influence from other people, not in the DJ industry, but other industries who are doing sales, like other online businesses. And I try to pay attention to, how did they sell me? What process did I go through to make me feel like I need their service? I need that course. I need that coaching. And I pay attention to, okay, I signed a form. They presented me more information after the call, or they talked about these things. Oh, maybe I should do that too. So it's really about modeling what has sold me and what has really helped me get to where I want. And like, okay, what if I apply that process, that system, that methodology into my own business? So I think we're all
So,
doing that
so
in some way.
we're just stealing stuff left and right, which is good. Modeling after, yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Because, dude, if these people are doing well in their business and they're not even DJs, like, they're just good entrepreneurs who knows how to not just sell people, but ultimately you're trying to help people, right? And by understanding what got you hooked and being aware of that, and you apply that for yourself, like, it most likely it will work for someone else too, essentially.
Right. No, I think that's so key, right? I think the whole key is you want to get people to just be extremely informed about what the process is and what your service is. And then, showing them what you're bringing to the table. And then, by that time, they're able to make a well-informed decision.
Yeah.
And I think you did an amazing job of that with it for me and Gabby, and you just made it super easy for us to, obviously choose you. But
Mhm.
I, I, I think so many people, they expect a lot, expect to get a sale early on from you know not really putting in that work up front to make sure that the client understands that. So sorry, I could go on and on about
No
like
worries.
that sales strategy, but
Mhm.
um did you always have like a process like that, a step by step thing that you had, or was that a um or did you just come up with that by yourself? I'm sorry, I'm just really curious. Did you come up with it by
Yeah.
yourself, or did you get it? Is
Dude,
it just a model of that, all
dude,
of
I get
everyone?
it from all sorts of places. And I like to learn from people who are doing better than me in that sense. And I take, okay, you know what, that's a great idea here. You know what, that's another great idea from someone else. Oh, that's a great idea. And it's all testing. And for me to say that one like works, it's really hard because it may work for different people at different industries. Like you have to figure out what works for you. But if there's two things that I like to give people is like one of the things you mentioned is clarity, right? Clear, it's crystal clear. Now I don't want a confused buyer or prospect because it doesn't make any sense. But I also want to. There's two things I'm focusing on: it's clarity and certainty. That I'm able to produce the outcome that they're looking for. That's why you see the proof, that I'm able to do it. Clarity of what I'm going to do, what's going to be, and then proof that in a certainty that it's going to work because of my process and systems that I have in place. So those two things I was trying to help out through my marketing and just lay it all out. So it's very clear, even for myself, like if I was a potential client, if I get married one day, right?
Yeah.
What would I want to see? I mean, sure, I can go with word of mouth and all I see is a website, pictures will look great, but how do I know that they're going to be the right one for me? So I would rather, and there's one thing that stood out to me that I'm trying to apply with my marketing too, is like, I'm trying to be less fearful of what other people think of what I do, because I want to be at the end of the day authentic with my messaging. And I feel like whoever resonates with me will resonate with me. Whoever don't, they won't. Like I want to attract the right people who, appreciates the work that I put in and appreciates the content and marketing or content, whatever I put out there. So that way they have a better understanding of where I'm coming from too.
Yes. No, I think that is so important. And again, I think that's why I'm creating this podcast too, is to see that, and why I like podcasts so much too, is because you can see the full scope of what truly a person is. And I think that authenticity is the most important thing with sales, I think, above all, right? Just, you want to be able to trust the person that they're going to be able to come through with what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a good starting point there. So I'm really curious about when you were making the transition into going from part-time to full-time.
Sure.
Speak on that a little bit of some advice for, should people just burn the bridges down and start the company like that? How did you do it, like little by little of part-time and then slowly work to full-time? Yeah, what would you say to like someone that has a passion for starting their business? What would you say?
That's a great question. And by no means I don't want you guys to be responsible or want me to hold me as responsible if something happens to you. All right. But this is just coming from my opinion, my suggestions. Just how to put that as a disclaimer. I don't want anyone to go broke and homeless by taking my advice. But for me, for the path that worked well for me is I had to be, I needed funds to begin with. The DJing isn't, you can't just DJ. You need the gear, you need the experience, and you have to be able to invest in your business so that way it can grow. And in order for me to fund this DJ business, I had to have a stable income, which I have that 9 to 5. So if someone was able to or wants to transition from full-time, if for someone who wants to transition from being a part-time DJ or have a part-time hobby or whatever into full-time, it definitely does help to have another job just to help bring the funds. And that way during that time, like you have some sense of security. But then what matters now is, okay, not only do you work that 9 to 5, but what are you doing on those off hours to help you grow that business? So, and like, what do I need? What do I need to invest in? How can I grow this? And I think there'll be a pivot point where you'll get business on the side and you'll realize that this part-time business, your side hustle, your hobby, is probably making more than what you're currently making now at your 9 to 5. Like, okay, do the math. Think about it a little bit more. Like I mentioned earlier, what if you took that time from your 9 to 5 and applied it, double down on yourself to take this part-time hobby full-time? Because it goes back into, hey, if you were able to make your part-time make break even or make more than your full-time job because of the things that you've done, imagine you double down on those things that you have done. Of course, like it will make reasonable sense to go even, that it will make yourself grow even more. But I think it does help to have a secure kind of job at first. And I think I get a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners or creatives. They're very prideful, like, no, I'm going to do this full time and work. I hate 9 to 5. But here's the thing, maybe you can find another 9 to 5 that's not as bad. So that way you can still enjoy it and it still get the funds that you need to help your side business. I mean, and I think, you know what, like, you want to be working for yourself, and I totally get it, but sometimes you have to suck it up a little bit. Like, you just need the funds, and like, how are you going to get that? You know, and really discipline yourself. Okay, and like, you're not wasting time spending that money that you've earned from your 9 to 5 on like other things, but you're actually reinvesting into yourself, to your knowledge, your experience, and your side business. Have that grow. See where you're at. Okay, do they equal out each other, or is the side business doing more than 9 to 5? Then okay, maybe that's the time to consider. Okay, list out all the things that you did to get to where you're at that point, and then ask yourself, what if I double down on those things, and maybe that will help you out, like really go full time. So
I love that. Yeah, I feel like that's not the sexy answer that everyone wants to hear nowadays,
no,
right? With all these like Instagram posts and like, nah, just go full-time entrepreneur life. But this is the real experience that you're getting, and I like that it's just a logical approach, right? Like, you need funding to start off. Like, why would I'm sure it is possible to, burn the bridges and start from scratch, but like, how hard is that? How much stress are you going to have every single day from just not knowing where that's going to be coming from? So I think that's a great answer. What 9 to 5 did you have? What was it, something in the food and science or was it something completely different?
somewhat. Like, I had a few jobs after college. Like the first two were like food science jobs, but then that 9 to 5 that I've been referring to a lot was like a biopharmaceutical company. I'm not high up there. I know pharmaceutical makes bank. I know, but
Yeah.
it's just in the lab department, and nothing related to food science or nutrition. But it's, yeah, it was that kind of work, just dealing with samples and giving those uh, drug samples that were manufactured in the lab to the proper lab locations for testing, and just managing that, basically the middleman between that. But anyhow, it does decently for that time. It was great, and I've learned from corporate sense. And here's the thing that some people may not realize, but having a job, like, I believe you are there for a reason. And I took whatever lesson from that 9 to 5 and applied it to my DJ business. For example, that's a corporate, like, it's a huge corporate company. You're going to learn how to write emails. You're going to learn how to work with other people. You're going to learn about deadlines. You're going to learn about customer service. Like, you are learning skills. And to say that you're going to drop off everything and just do entrepreneurship full time, you're missing out on the opportunity. Like, what if you take the job that you're currently working on right now, ask yourself, what kind of skills will this teach me? Or what skills can I take from this and apply it to my business? Use it as a testing ground, really, and practice the communication skills, practice, or learn how to email, or like little things.
Yeah, no, I think so, like, use it as like an education or schooling, right? Don't
Yeah.
look at it as like a position or title, but like, what are I'm sure that there's like a lot of email formats that you can adopt, or even like a corporate structure of a scheduling that you can use from that. So yeah, so many people don't apply. I feel like don't they talk so much so bad about those type of jobs, but I think that those are it's just can teach specific skills, right, or tools that you need that you can take to your
Right.
actual business, because eventually you want to evolve into like a bigger thing that you're gonna be needing these kind of skills anyways, right?
Right. Right. Like, here's another example for anyone who's listening, right? If you're working a corporate job or 9 to 5, usually you're being managed, right? And pay attention to how they manage you, because who knows, maybe in your business you're going to be managing others. You may create a team. So you're learning how they operate their business, so that way you can operate yours. See what works, what doesn't. So there was a lot of learning experience from that. So it's and other things like office politics, which is something I don't want to go down to,
No,
but
yeah, that's something else too. But no,
that's
it
something
teaches you
else.
how to be like how to speak in certain environments in certain areas, right? And how not how to keep quiet and how to listen too.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
so I'm really curious about your first like your I don't know why I'm really curious about your transition, right? So how did you get? I know you had booked. You said like with some family and friends that you started with your doing some events.
Sure.
Like when was it just pure referrals that you were first getting? I'd say like your first couple months of every getting paid for the your DJ business. Was it just referrals, or were you marketing yourself somewhere? Was it like people finding you through Google? Where were people finding you?
At first it's referrals, friends and family, but then eventually I try to put myself on other websites. Back then it was Thumbtack, Wedding Wire, The Knot, which are all great places to begin with if you're looking for that. And it really helps you get some work and putting the reps in and getting the experience that you need. But now I don't do that anymore. I focus on different lead sources that will help generate or give me the work that I need. But at the beginning, you have to start whatever you can, really, to um, put yourself out there and get known. And my reason behind it was, you know what, like there's this saying, it's not about who you know, but it's about who knows you. At first, I got that wrong. I was like, okay, it's about who you know. Okay, I know this person, but do they know you? So I was trying to put myself in other places where people can know me, and is start with those websites and creating a website itself and developing this online presence. And I believe like I started in a good time when the internet was still growing and developing itself and learning all these ways how to put yourself out there. But then YouTube was the next step, really, and I think that helped because it showed more proof. And I mean, now Google owns YouTube. Yeah, it's and people search things all the time. So I think that's the best place to start is word of mouth and really building your network. I mean, word of mouth goes a long way, and I think it still does even to this day. But then online is just another way to make yourself known to other people who could possibly use your services.
I think that's a good point. So you're starting out, you're trying to put your face out there, put who you are out there so people can find you. And then as you slowly built that up, it sounds like that you became a little bit choosy of where you can what the type of clientele that you like, and maybe is that the reason why you've linked up with a lot of the like the venues, like being a preferred venue. Can you tell that there's a better is there a better type of quality person that you're or client that you're working with in those versus just a random person finding you? Like, is
Yeah,
that something that you're having to do? Like, do you sometimes have to turn people away because they like they don't fit what you're looking for?
exactly. Because I rather would have the marketing speak for myself, and going back to what I said earlier, I would rather have it attract the people who I do want to work because they feel my vibe. But now I'm mostly targeting. So the way I get my leads, right, is like through the content I put out there, through YouTube, Instagram, and if they like my content, okay, great. So that way there's somewhat of a level of expectations that we just get each other. But and then the other source is through wedding planners, wedding vendors, and wedding venues. Because here's the thing, they've seen a lot of DJs. And for the fact that they want to refer me means a lot. And their opinion is worth more, I think, to a potential couple than just finding someone online. And I feel like that's where word of mouth comes in, because I think a person who is in the industry, who sees a lot of DJs, if they recommend someone, then to some degree that person must be at least somewhat maybe better than most. And I'd rather focus on those people who appreciate a good DJ. And because the other places where people find DJs on these other websites, it's kind of saturated. And then it's really hard to separate yourself and your services because they're looking at other DJs in that same platform too. So I'm trying to position myself to the top where there is no competition because they can only think of me.
I like that. So what are your, and on that note a little bit, what are your, like, where do you see yourself in this? Do you want to continue DJing for, late into your life? Do you want to transition into doing something else? I know you had started a little bit of those, I forget what that other business
Wedding
that you had for
DJ
the
mastery.
kids. Yeah, that too. Like, what eventually are you trying to build this up to do?
Yeah. I love DJing, and I don't think that will ever be taken away from me. Like, as long as people appreciate what I do, and it's, I want to make sure that I work with the right client, because time is short, and I want to make every second, minute, and hour of my time to work with people who appreciate what I do. Maybe at the beginning, it was like, all right, let's get working, but now it's becoming more than just DJing, but we're spending 6 to 8 10 hours together over our lives. And I really want it, not just the couple and the people who I work with, but even myself, to have a great time. So I'm still going to DJ, but maybe more selective, and making sure that they feel like they really want me for my service and what I'm able to do for them, because that's how I know I'm able to do my best. I'll put in the work, and we're going to have a great time together. So, but as time goes on, as we get old, our bodies are getting weaker, and who knows, circumstances may change, life or health, who knows. But long term is I want to make a bigger impact, not just with the people who I get to DJ for, but teaching other DJs how to do the same things that I'm doing, and giving them the right guidance so that way they are able to do what they love full time. And it involves a lot of skills, and I want to shortcut their way to success, just as the same thing that I've been doing to shortcut mine. But they're actually learning from someone who's an actual DJ, instead of learning from all these other places. Hey, I'll just tell you exactly what to do it. But I feel like the reason why I'm doing this is because, crazy as it seems, like I've been in their shoes. and I feel like the DJ's overall role in this we're actually doing something amazing for the people that we get to work with. And a lot of people do for cheap, and they're like exhausting themselves and not able to put in their best work. That's why DJs are treated like a commodity. Oh, it's just a DJ, right, play some music. And it's just a downward cycle. But I really want to raise the industry and let people know, hey, we can actually do something amazing for you. And I want the DJs to be valued as well. I mean, they're doing incredible things for their clients, and I want the DJs to be happy and charge well enough so that way they feel satisfied with their work. Because if they just think of it as work, as just work, I mean, yeah, they could think of that, but their soul, their energy is not put into it. But I want to create where they could really have that passion that got them into DJing in the first place, and that requires certain things in their business and their environment and the way they work to allow that to happen, to allow them to flourish. And when they flourish and really get into the creative space, is really going to help out their clients as well. So that's the end goal, because I could only serve so many people. Like, I'm already booked out this year, and then like I feel bad for the people who, you know what, they can't have me, because I'll do my existing clients a disservice because my time it will be spread thin, you know? So I figure, you know, why not leave an impact, not just with the couples and the people who I'm actually DJing for, but teaching others. And they will really see this is a career choice that they can actually do full time, helping others have the best time of their lives and doing what they love.
Wow.
So that's my mission in the long term, and helping others and just spreading good vibes. Like, because here's the thing, I see it on the other side of things. You know, I just need to help them see that as a reality for themselves too, and helping them actually want to change, and me helping them get there. So
Nice. Where do you think that comes from? Like, where does your wanting to give impact and really like making a difference? Where did that come from? Maybe your family? Is it maybe your faith, or is it just something you're born with? Like, where did you get that?
I think it was, I don't know. I think it was something I was born with. Because none of my family, like, I'm the first in my family who kind of thinks this way. Because I mean, I understand my parents had their own struggles, just even coming to America, so to speak, and just trying to create at least a decent living, you know, for them to raise me. But now it's more about, I mean, I want to give back, and I think it's another way of fulfillment, I think, of an impact and maybe a higher purpose in that regard, and letting people know, like, because I really want them to understand that it's possible for them, and maybe because I've been there, and it's like, man, you don't have to feel this way, you know, and I care about these people enough to, like, you can actually do better, you know, and this is how. But I think one of the things too that really excites me is, like, I'm a continual, I'm a, yeah, I'm still a student in life, in the game, in the DJ career, and what I do, and I like learning new things and being able to teach it, because in a way that helps solidify the things that I'm learning and doing, and you know what, oh, this is what's working for me. Let me share this with you too. And I like sharing and teaching what I know, and seeing people have wins and success. And I think I'm trying to, like, if they are better at what they do, then I feel better too. Like, it's a win-win.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, so you're getting the fulfillment for yourself. It's also you're reiterating your own learnings and making a huge difference too. Wow, that's yeah. That I view it the same way, and I wish everyone can do business that way, because I feel like it'll all raise each other up. Because I feel like it's always these like little pivotal moments. I'm sure, like when in your own DJ career, right? Had someone just like tapped you on the shoulder, like, "Hey Joe, like this is what you need to be doing right now." Like, what a difference that would have made, right? For you to get better much quicker. And if you can do that with not only one person that you're helping, but you're doing it to multiple different
Right.
DJs that are going off, oh my God, the impact that's tremendous, crazy.
Yeah. Because
So
that's the thing. I think it's like, when you look back at your older self 5-10 years ago, like, I wish my future self could have told my young self how to do it, so that way it will be even quicker. Because for me, it took me 12 years. But if I had someone who's in my position telling my old self how to do it to save time, that would have been so much better.
so speak to your old self right now, or for anyone that is like just quickly, trying to get over that little hump. Like, say that you're in your first year of your career. Like, what kind of advice would you tell your own self at that time to get yourself to the next level?
Woo. Hire a mentor. Hire a mentor. And I mean, there's so many reasons. Like you have to be willing to learn and try to take on a new perspective from someone who's done it. You know, who could help you avoid the pitfalls or things that you may be struggling with. You know, I think a mentor is huge because time is limited on this earth. That why not find a way to shortcut that and enjoy life more? So hire a mentor, but not just anyone, but like someone who's actually done it, because that will really shortcut your way to where you want to be.
Where did what's a good source to find a mentor? Like, um, I know you're obviously a great one for other DJs, but like, where do you know of any? Like, do people just look it up on Google? Is it just a word of mouth? Where would someone find a mentor?
Surprisingly, Kenny, podcast. Because I've had several, like few directly and few indirectly. But one of the direct mentors of who I had was because I heard about his name is Brian. I've heard he was a guest speaker at a podcast, and his message resonated with me so much. And he offered coaching or mentoring. You know, weekly calls. And I told myself I need to hop on that. So I think it's actually putting yourself in environments where those people are. Sometimes podcasts, sometimes YouTube, but you really have to be careful about the content that you consume. That's the thing. So content's everywhere, and you have to be careful of what you're feeding into your brain. And you find mentors at places where they will most likely be. And usually mentors, they want to put their message out there to help others. Okay, where if they want to help others, if they're mentors, who like where can they find mentors? Like how can they extend their message? Podcasts, YouTube, seminars, conferences, and I mean now, I mean maybe back then it was mostly going to like convention centers or conference and all that, but now the digital age is booming. Podcast, and then you get to pay attention if you like a certain guy on a podcast and they're bringing certain guests, right? And then, oh, I never heard of this guy. Let me look him up. Oh, he's doing exactly what I want to do. Boom. So sometimes one thing leads to another, but you have to put yourself into a position where, okay, I'm ready to learn. And it starts from anywhere, really. And then you can go into this rabbit hole. Oh, from this person. Oh, he mentioned this person's name. Oh, he dropped this book from this author. Oh, talk. And then after that, he recommended this YouTube video from this creator. You just like explore the people in the industry and who they know, because if you like someone, most likely they have influence from other people, either someone above them or connections horizontal next to them. And
Ah, I see.
so you start with one, and then you pay attention to their circle of friends in their network, and also pay attention to any name drops. Maybe they'll learn from someone from another mentor. So you look them up, research the kind of content they create, see if it's exactly where you want to go, and
I
if it
see.
aligns
So
with their
so
goals.
so
And
start from a place where you're just genuinely trying to learn more and put
yeah,
yourself in environments, conventions, where these people will
yeah,
be at, and it'll naturally you'll find, where you're gravitating towards, and then do some more research on that, and a rabbit hole, like you said, right?
yeah. That's
Okay.
that's
That's
exactly
great.
how we do.
Great advice. So a mentor cuts it out. I that is so much value, right? Because you can't. It's hard to just Google and YouTube your own way to the next, jump in the next hump. If someone can give you the advice from where exactly being where you have been, how much of a better situation can that be, or to get you that across that hump. So great advice there. And I know we're kind of narrowing down. I don't want to take too much time for you, so I just wanted to get to my last questions here
Sure.
of of what's your version of greatness? What's your definition of that for your own self, and just that word in general?
Dude, that's a powerful question right there. Um, Greatness, maybe simplify things and being able to live life confidently in yourself and not being fearful, or if you are fearful, that you're willing to be okay with it and deal with it, or being uncomfortable. I think greatness is like being a oh man, you're
I
having me
like
think
this.
here.
It's getting the gears
It's
grinding.
getting there. But I think it's like living life confidently in yourself, that you know how to take care of yourself and what you need to do to get to where you need to be. Like if things were stripped away from you, it's like relying on yourself to do what needs to be done. Um and also not to be, I mean, I'm also a guy with Christian faith and in belief, so it's really hard to speak about greatness like just in itself. Like I can't take all the credit, really. Um, I believe like all the things that I have in me, it's because he's great. So I have to give credit to where it's due. But it's through him that I'm able to live confidently, because I feel like everything is here for a reason, and I believe that, man, to be great, dude, it's really, I think it's really about confidence, man.
No, I love yeah, that I
Like I
think
can't take all the
that's
credit, but it's confidence and being humble enough to know, like, you know what, you don't know it all. But and walking into the things that are unknown and taking on those risks, because you're growing.
and that's so cool to understand that that's your version of greatness where it's not, oh yeah, I want to hit like having a million followers or having X amount of money in the bank or having DJed at these venues, you know, that's your definition of greatness is something that's you strip everything away from it and like what's truly inside, right? Like
Hmm.
that's powerful. And as someone who I'm also of Christian faith too, I think that we can't do it by ourselves, right? Like it's something so powerful. Like I don't know if you were able to imagine of what you built up like 10, 15, whatever, or 10 years ago, to right now without something bigger kind of leading you on that. So I
Hmm.
love that answer. And then lastly, we kind of already talked about all this, man. You hit all the key concepts. I appreciate
All right, there we go.
your your ability to articulate those concepts. But let's see. What I said, what impact would you like to make in the world? So that like what is it just within the DJ community, or is there anything bigger that you would like to make it an impact? Like what kind of impact would you like to make?
Oh man, that's, dude, you're dropping all the good questions too, man. Like it's not just me, but it's also you. Yeah, you're asking the right questions, man. Um, Something that has been I'm very passionate about too, that I think would help everyone, is being better communicators. Like if there's any impact, is like helping people become more aware of how they communicate, and being aware of themselves, how they communicate, and impact in a way where people will take the time to understand one another more, instead of just giving what they believe. Because I think everything has to come from a place of understanding before, like understanding the other person before you try to be understood.
Hmm. That's key. Yeah, not many people talk about that communication and just really genuinely trying to, yeah, understand what the person's going through in front of you. And I think that's what's bringing you all the success and in your DJ career and in life, man. So, oh man, I where can everyone find you and to book you if they wanted to for your DJ services or even for your DJ coaching? Have you already started that up too, right?
Yeah, I'm starting coaching 2 DJs, but I'm still building like a community, and it's in the works. But I think a good place to start is Instagram. It's DJ underscore Mojoe. And my other one where I teach and help other DJs is called Wedding DJ Mastery. And you can find that on Instagram and shortly soon on YouTube for that. But so we'll start off with Instagram. I think it's a good platform. I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon, but let's connect there.
Okay, I like that. Well, yeah, follow everything that DJ Mojoe's doing. It's not only we're talking about the way that your brain works, but you put it on the actual at the venues and on the stage with your music and style. We didn't even go into that. I could go 5 hours of going into the actual music of it. But
Yep.
no, thank you so much, Joe, for coming on and dropping all this wisdom. And is there anything else that you'd like to add to on top of it? I feel like you already gave so much already.
We'll save that for another time, man. We'll save it another time. But thank you for having me on here, Kenny. Been a pleasure. And dude, I'm excited for your wedding next year, if anything, dude. It's gonna be a good time.
That's fun, man. All right, let me stop this
Cool.
recording.